GSM sector. And my guest in the studio is Mr. Jaryum Samuel Wandara, Director, Exploration and Geological Services, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Mineral Development, Plateau State. Once more, good afternoon and welcome, sir, on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir. All right, let's get started. With the previous editions we've had, we've been talking about energy transition, and the plan. So today you're here to tell us about this plan. So let's delve into Nigeria's energy transition plan. Can you explain to us and the listener out there the key components of this plan and what it aims to achieve in the coming years?
Okay. Good afternoon, listeners. Well, as rightly said, I'm Jaryum Samuel, Wandara, Director, Exploration and Gemological Services. Nigeria's energy transition plan is a strategic framework designed to shift to a sustainable and low-carbon energy system. The plan addresses critical need of cleaner energy sources, improve access and economic growth, while mitigating the diverse effect of climate change, as we know. Then the key component, we have the renewable energy, where most at times people are using the non-renewable energy, mostly fossil carbon and fossil fuel, but shifting from it is more robust. It reduces climate change and its consequent effect on the community. Then you have the energy efficiency. By that Nigeria Energy Transition Plan, it is expected that by 2030, 30% of most communities should be able to have an efficient energy. Then you have the off-grid solutions, mostly depending on the national grid. Recently, you can have a national grid collapse where almost the entire northern states don't have light. So by 2030, we are trying to shift, by Nigerian energy transition, is trying to shift from that effect. Then you have the natural gas utilization, where natural gas, we have it in abundance in Nigeria. You can use it for cooking, we use it for transportation. Recently, there are some vehicles that use the natural gas, where it is much cheaper using it than the fossil fuel, where you have about 1,000 something per liter. With 1,000 natural gas, you can at least power your vehicle to or any other distance to where you want to be. Then you have the policy and regulatory framework by government. Well, here is aimed at establishing a robust policy where government will encourage people to go into sustainable, to adapt to energy transition, to adapt to the renewable energy system. Then you have the private sector engagement, where you engage the public to adopt that. Then you have the capacity building and innovations. Then you have the climate change mitigation. Then you have the economic and social benefit. These are the major components, key components of energy transition plan of Nigeria.
All right, sir. Thank you. Now, before I go to my next question, I'm sure my listener out there would wonder, or the listener out there would wonder. Here is government again. Big words, laudable policies, programs, initiative, and our key Achilles heel is implementation. The will. Is there will? Is there purpose behind this policy?
Yes, there is purpose. The purpose majorly is to mitigate the climate change. That's the adverse effect of fossil fuel, because it is in the know that this fossil fuel, a lot of carbon is being emitted. Then the basic plan is to reduce significantly that effect.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, sir. Thank you. So, as the world shifts or moves towards cleaner and more sustainable energy sources, Nigeria has developed a comprehensive transition strategy and plan, which you just mentioned some of the key components of it. But how does this affect the mining sector, or how does the mining sector fit into this transformation?
Well, mining, as you know, with its diverse effect and needs, it fit very well into that. With the recent increase in fossil fuel, you find out that most companies, especially miners, are what they are going down because of the cost of running their engine, whether diesel or petrol. They need to buy it. But with the coming of with the transition to energy, you find out that it will be cheaper for them. So miners will fit very well into that. That the supply of and also they will supply the essential minerals, e.g. lithium. For instance, if you are using solar energy, in most communities now, if you go in the night, you see the place as if it is a town, simply because of solar light everywhere. Those solar lights use lithium as one of the components for producing the battery. So those batteries are lasting more than the lead battery, where it is lighter and it has more efficiency than the lead battery. So you have that. Then we have supporting infrastructure development. 8, to development infrastructure require of renewable energy, especially construction of facilities and transportation. Then we have adoption of renewable energy. Mining companies will fit very well if they adopt the renewable energy by using wind power, and their activities will be reducing carbon emission. As I earlier said, you find out that they are using generators, emitting a lot of carbon dioxide. But if they adopt to the renewable energy by using solar panel as source of energy, less carbon dioxide is released to the environment, and that will reduce it. Then you have technological innovations. These are areas that the mining sector will fit in very well to that. Then you have the recycling and sustainability. That is investing in recycling technologies, reclaim valuable materials. For instance, water. For instance, water, if you use it for in spiral mining, you still recycle the water, go up instead of just sending the water away. You use it for that. So we have the, I think that's
Okay.
the basic.
All right. Okay. On to my next question. Let's talk about economy. Looking at these plans you've mentioned, what role does the energy sector now play in Nigeria's overall economic development, and why is it so crucial to address this energy transition now?
It is very critical because the roles that the energy sector play in Nigeria's overall economic development, the key roles are economic growth, increase in Nigeria GDP from oil, from the oil export. Then we are depending solely on oil. You export it, then you have that. But if it is the renewable energy, you find out that the revenue from oil and export will be more, because oil and export are source of energy. That's where the economic growth, because this will increase the GDP of the state. Then we have the employment opportunities, provide direct and indirect jobs. If a solar system is to be installed in a place, you need the security men, you need even those that will climb the pole, mount the pole, all those are source of jobs, for that's a source of employment. Then you have industrialization. Then you will have the foreign exchange earnings. Then you have energy access, technology transfer, and skills development. And all these are key roles that the energy sector will play in Nigeria.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, listener, if you're listening, you're still tuned and listening to Radio Nigeria, Highland 101.5 FM Jos, and this is the radio engagement brought to you by Ziva Community Initiative, with a focus on the role of artisanal and small-scale mining in energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria. My guest is Mr. Jaryum Samuel Wandara, the Director, Exploration and Geological Services, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Mineral Development in Plateau State, and we've been talking about Nigeria's energy transition plan, and quite some interesting points have been made by my guest here in the studio. Not forgetting that you can join us much later when the phone lines are made available to you. Shortly we shall take a break for that to enable you to join the program. But sir, before we take a break, it sounds like the ASM, that's the artisanal small-scale mining and miners, could have an even greater impact on the country's economy if more attention and investment were directed towards its development. Do you agree with this?
Quite well, if more attention is given to it. Well, mining is capital intensive, and most miners don't even have the resources to go into the direct mining, where you now get the requisite materials for energy transition. But with artisanal miners, they go into the interior parts where the organized miners cannot even go. So they can go, bring out the materials, and you use it. So that is the area that they can fit in very well.
Okay, so now let's still talk about the ASM and let's bring them into the conversation. How do artisanal and small-scale miners fit into Nigeria's energy transition plan?
Well, as I earlier said, they fit in very well into the Nigerian plan, because they are the one that, for instance, the solar energy, they use lithium. As I earlier said, they use lithium, and this lithium is not in one place. As I said, the multinationals or the organized miners, it's difficult for them to go into the interior and get it. So they fit in very well if they can go bring out the materials and then they use it. And in terms of cost effective, is less expensive getting it from them than going into the real mining.
Okay, so how does your ministry support ASMs?
We support ASM by forming them into cooperative.
Okay.
We organize them into cooperative. Recently, you might have heard of maybe a tax force enforcement that is ongoing. But our aim is not to send them away, but we want to organize them. But exclusivity of mineral places is in the hand of federal government. But we organize them in such a way that they are into cooperative. So we can now know where they are doing and what they are doing, and the type of energy they are using. Most of, if there's any eventuality like accident or collapse of the tunnel or whatever, we can easily know, okay, this is the exact number of people that are underground in the tunnel also, are doing the mining there. But without, my ministry basically is trying to see that all artisanal miners are grouped
and
harmonized into this. If there's any incentive, there's a way you can, say, I'm going to A.
Okay.
I will give this to A, or I will give it to B.
Okay.
Then you know where they are.
Okay. Before we take a break, one more question, please. Now turning our focus to solid minerals, the solid mineral sector, which includes the artisanal and small-scale mining, the ASM, which we've just talked about. What contribution do they make, or does the mining sector make currently as regards Nigeria's GDP?
Okay. The contribution that mining sector presently is
making to our GDP.
Well, already our GDP
and
in the
overall
mining
economic growth.
Yes, our GDP in terms of mining sector is very minimal compared to the enormous resources that we have in the country. The basic reason is being the illegal mining and other activities. So presently, the mining sector is trying to, as I earlier said, the organization of the artisanal miners into group. The essence is to harness the potential, and then you have enough of materials that you need. Then you can now, we have it, instead of leaving it, we cannot go into it, the ASM can bring it out. Government is trying in that order. By so doing, taking it to the market, it will increase the GDP of the state.
Okay. All right, listen up. We shall be taking a short break, and when we return, the phone line will be made available for you to call in and be part of the program. Do stay with us. All right, listener, good afternoon and welcome back on the program. If you're just joining us, this is Radio Nigeria Highland 101.5 FM Jos, and this is the radio engagement on the role of artisanal and small scale miners ASM in energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria, brought to you by Ziva Community Initiative with funding from the African Center for Energy Policy ACEP. My name is Stephen Ego, and my guest in the studio is Mr. Jaryum Samuel Wandara, Director Exploration and Gemological Services, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Mineral Development in Plateau State. And our topic of discuss this afternoon is Nigeria's energy transition plan and its implications for the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. My guest has been doing justice to the questions that I have for him. If you have any question, now is the time to ask that question. The number to call if you want to be part of the program is 070-3535-52560. That's 070-3535-2560. I take the number once again, 070-3535-2560. Call in and be part of the conversation, all right? That's the number to call to be part of the program. 070-3535-2560. 070-3535-2560. Call in and be part of the program. All right, sir. While we wait for our callers or the calls to come in, we can continue to our discuss. Having looked at the economic growth that you just mentioned that comes with the ASM mining and the involvement and contribution to the GDP and economic growth, what are some of the benefits the ASM communities now can expect from embracing this clean energy transition program and policy?
Well, the ASM they can expect a lot of benefits, economic benefits. There will be reduced energy costs. As earlier said, some of the ASM they use diesel to run their generators, and with this energy transition, they will use solar energy, which is less expensive. They will have job creation from development. That's from the energy transition program. You have environmental benefit. You have reduced pollution. And we have the sustainable practices where you have the pollution rate will be less. Then you have the social benefit, health improvement, cleaner air and water, because they will not be polluting the environment. Then you have energy access, where they will have the solar is already there, then the mini grid is there. They don't even have to wait for the national grid, where there's a lot of this. And then you have the regulatory and other benefits from it.
Okay. Okay, still on the policy. The role of the policy and government is obviously crucial in guiding this transition. How can government and policymakers now support the ASMs in the context of energy transition?
They can support that by giving incentives and subsidizing whatever is coming up to ASM in terms of their machines and other tools they use. Government can come in, give incentives, and then subsidize it. Even in terms of tax, they can reduce maybe the tax, give a tax break 1-2 months, then they come back, reduce whatever is to be paid. Then you have the regulation and standard, research and development. These are key areas that government can come in.
All right. All right. So I think we have a call coming in. I should put this on so that we can get our calls. We have a call coming in. Hello. Hello. Please, can you speak up? You're not loud enough. Yes. Okay. Yes. Good afternoon and welcome on the program. So please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Okay, Yilret. Okay, we hear Abari. Okay, go ahead, Abari. Calling us from where? Okay, Josh. So go ahead. What's your question, please? Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Radio Nigeria Highland 101.5 FM Jos. That was a Barry calling us from Jos. And his question is, what is the energy transition program all about? What are we transitioning from? From what to what? There isn't been, or rather, there hasn't been much sensitization for that that policy or that program. I believe that's what he's asking us today on the program. So has government done enough sensitization for this program? Are the ASMs themselves, are they enlightened enough? Has there been sensitization, and how much awareness has been created around this policy and this transition?
Well, there is enough sensitization, but if he's talking of the energy transition plan, as I earlier said, it's a strategic design to shift from the country from a more sustainable and low carbon energy system. This carbon energy system, let me break it down to a lower level where people can understand. Let me not use terminologies. We are talking of petrol. That is, for instance, if you are using petrol, petrol is an energy that is from fossil fuel. Then it is an energy that can be depleted with time. It's an energy that can cause a lot of, can pollute the environment. This energy, as it is now, we are shifting from it to a more sustainable energy. That is the renewable energy, utilizing the enormous gas that we have. This gas emits less carbon dioxide, which tend to deplete our environment. So that is, in essence, we are shifting from the use of fossil fuel to use of solar energy, wind energy to generate generate our energy, instead of using fuel. Maybe running gen in the afternoon. You don't need to run the gen whether in the night or afternoon, but you use the solar, which is less in terms of noise and polluting the environment.
All right, Avari, I hope that clarifies it for you. Talking about moving from reducing our carbon footprint, reduction of the use of carbon emitting energy to renewable and sustainable energy, talking about wind, talking about solar, which we have in abundance. So that's the transition, and government has a plan to shift our energy consumption from fossil to renewable, sustainable energy. All right, the number to call still, listener, if you want to join in on the program and join in on the discuss, 080-3535-2560. That's 070-3535-2560. Call in and be part of the program. All right, sorry, sir. That call came in. You were talking about some of the support that the ASMs can get in terms of this energy transition. You talked about incentives, you talked about training, tax waivers, and all that.
Yes. The support they can get also is in terms of regulation and standards. Government can put in regulations. ASM, while knowing how they are, their background of what they are doing, if government regulates them, it will give a better, that's the way government can support them. And we have the infrastructure development, energy grid modernization. Then you have the recycling and waste management. Government can come into that. We have the public-private partnership, collaboration with companies, academic institutions, and then innovation hubs and other incentives that will come from the public partnership. Those are the basic ones.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, to my next question. Well, the opportunities are existing. There are certain challenges. You've talked about some of the opportunities from the ASM standpoint. They can get training, they can be incentivized, get tax waivers. Fantastic, and the opportunity to earn more revenue, boost our GDP, and all that. But there are certain challenges. Yes, there can't be opportunities without challenges. Okay, yes. So can we talk about the challenges along the way? What are some of the main challenges that the ASM community or the miners or themselves, or the sector itself, can face in this in with aligning with Nigeria's energy transition plan?
Okay, well, the challenges are many, but the major one is regulatory challenges. You know, ASM being what they are, you know, they are financially not buoyant, and mining being capital intensive. Process of getting clearance, putting them into cooperative. After the cooperative, maybe they will now register with all those bottleneck. And these are people that need cash at their hand within a limited time. So for them to go through this is a big challenge for them. Then we have the environmental impact. That's a big challenge for them, because the regulation will now say, okay, don't put this into that. The transiting from this energy, you have to use this type of energy, and they don't have the means. Then we have the technological limitations. Most of the ASM, they don't have the technology, they don't have the know-how. Most of them, they are not even educated. They just wake up and see that, okay, they need cash in their hand, and the easiest way is to go into mining. They just form themselves into cooperative. But government, as I earlier said, government is trying to see that, okay, after putting themselves into a group, they can then train them and give them certain incentives. Then we have the social and health issue. They don't use organized things, so they can go into the mining. You know, some are radioactive, some of the minerals they use are radioactive, and they can easily be contaminated and causing a lot of health hazard to them. These are some of the challenges the ASM in trying to align with the energy transition plan.
They come across. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, listener. The number to call is 070-3535-2560. 070-3535-2560. Call in and be part of the program if you have a question for my guest. All right. That seems like a significant hurdle that you've just mentioned. Some of the challenges that you've mentioned, talking about regulatory challenges and getting them to align with this transition plan. So what are the opportunities that could help the ASM communities now make a shift towards sustainable future?
Okay. Well, the opportunities are there. The increased demand for critical minerals. Like, well, I keep mentioning lithium because it is one of the mineral order of the day, which is being used in solar energy. And apart from solar energy, our battery and the rest. So the opportunities there are, with this increased demand, the organized miners cannot even produce that. So it gives an opportunity to the ASM to now go to sell off the minerals they have. Then we have sustainable practices and certification, local economic development, whereby, okay, instead of in a small village, they can organize themselves into ASM. Then they have that opportunity. Government will give them incentive. Government will look at this. Then they will now have their product will be sold at a affordable price that they need, not just somebody coming giving them money, do what you want. Then you have the technological revenue and training. Then you have environmental remediation projects, partnership and collaboration, renewable energy for ASM, then recycling and urban mining. These are all the benefits, opportunities that ASM could drive from the energy transition plan.
Okay. Can you still speak more, shed more light on urban what do you call it?
Recycling
the urban mining that you mentioned.
Urban mining.
When you say urban mining,
yes.
What does urban mining mean?
Well, urban mining, when we say urban mining, you are using the grid. Let's say the energy that you use. Most of the energy we have in the urban area is not found in the hinterland. So those urban mining, they are the mining. You are now with the transition plan, maybe solar energy. You can equally mine the way you mine in urban, and then you mine in this. Now the urban mining itself, it has to do with, for instance, if you go to some areas now, they are mining right inside using well and all what have you. It's not controlled, where you have different pollution going on. But with the urban mining, you find out that the recycling will also be there. For instance, water, which is limited. in urban mining, in urban areas you don't have the water, but then if you are recycling it, you know, the same volume of water you use, you recycle, wash whatever you have, go back like that. I think that's basically what it is.
All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, listen out. The phone line is still available for you to call. We've had a call from Abari from here in Jos, talking about enlightenment. More enlightenment needs to be done, more awareness and sensitization on the transition, Nigeria's energy transition plan. So call in and have your say or your question and contribute on the program. The number still remains 070-3535-2560. That's 070-3535-2560. All right, so earlier in your summation, you made mention of crude implements being used by the ASM. How can they transition from the use of crude implements into or to aid in this energy transition plan that the government has? Is this, or are these crude implements not going to be an impediment to attaining that energy transition, or these crude implements can be used very so to attain that energy transition that we're talking about?
Well, that is what I was saying, that government incentive. They use crude implement. This crude implement has to do with, like, some of them use shovel, they use digger, they go into it. Now with and the tunnel they even do, after digging the well, we find out that the tunnel is very narrow. They cannot go in smoothly. So with the crude implement coming of energy transition, why they are using those crude implement? Because they don't have the resources to even fuel the generators, to even have the light, or to have to power their equipment. But with the transition to energy, we transition from energy to renewable energy.
Yes.
You find out that they will have it at a lesser cost, and they can use it to power their equipment. Yes,
All right,
basically incentive.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to talk about your office now. You are the Director Exploration and Gemological Services, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Mineral Development. What function or what roles does your office carry out in terms of streamlining or bringing others, the public, on board with Nigeria's energy transition plan?
Well, we are organizing as a department. My department is Exploration and Gemological Services. I know the last word will always sound very
Gemological.
new, yes. To listeners. Gemological simply means use of jewelry, other things. These are all things that you have from the gemstone. The gemology comes from gemstone.
Sorry, I need to interject there. We have a call coming in. Hello, good morning. Good afternoon, sorry. Afternoon, okay. Welcome on the program. Your name and your location, please. Okay, Alhaji Bola from Manchok. Kadan. I got it. Thank you very much, Alhaji Bola from Manchok. Alhaji Bola called in to ask for the non-English speaking listener out there, how do they get to be part and parcel of the program, and what information can they get? Thank you, Alhaji Bola. Okay, we have another call coming in. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, go ahead, Yakubu. Hello, Yakubu. Okay. All right, thank you, Yakubu. All right, that was also another call from
Yes.
Yakubu. His question, or rather his appeal, was that government should invest more in local companies as opposed to foreign companies. And he also called for more enlightenment on the energy transition plan and more enlightenment on renewable and sustainable energy, wind and solar. So, okay, thank you, Alajibola. I'll come back to you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me try and say one or two things on what he said. Local, in terms of sensitizing local miners, I think Plateau State has done very well.
Okay.
On 9th of September to 10th, we organize a sensitization for all miners. We say mining outfits, whether you are dealing with gemstone, whether you do whatever you are dealing with, come let us know you. And His Excellency was quite emphatic. He was not even happy with the way he saw local miners, and he made up his mind that yes, these miners, there must be a shift from basing our attention on foreign investors to local investors, so that whatever you are doing as a local miner, they should be able to see you. So as he rightly said, there are tax incentives for a local miner to come and then register his company. Is different from the way a foreign company. You cannot compare the two in terms of taxes and other incentives that the locals are getting. Okay. So I think government is trying in that order.
All right, so I want to still ask you a question based on what you just said. The program that you had on the 9th and the 10th.
Yes.
Is it a one-off? Is it seasonal? Is it something that we can expect to happen on a regular basis?
It's on a regular basis. Okay. The only thing that comes up is just to invite almost everybody, including His Excellency. But I assure you, like my ministry, every week we try to have a meeting with locals.
Okay.
So that we sensitize them on things that they're supposed to do. And with this energy transition that is on, I think as a director, I will speak to my own commissioner who is passionate about mining, the way His Excellency is passionate about mining. So we are going to organize a robust meetings with locals on the need to transit from the fossil fuel to a more renewable energy.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. Before I interjected, before the calls came in, you were talking about what your department does, Gemological services.
Yes.
Yes, and your role you play in our discourse today. Okay. Can you quickly wrap that up?
Yes. Like my ministry, as I earlier said, it's not only gemological services comes at a later. This the exploration we are into. You know, exploration with the consequent security problem we are having. It's difficult for you as a geologist to move into the into areas where these deposits are located. So we are using a more with the coming of the transition of this energy sector. You know, like airborne, you can use any of the equipment. You can remote sense an area, and when you remote sense using solar panel and other equipment that use this solar energy, I think we are having a more better, we fit into the energy transition more better than what we are using, right. Because the what we are using is more obsolete, requiring a lot of energy.
Yes.
You know, you cannot take a generator now. Okay, I'm going to come, for instance, in an area where there is no light. You begin to power your generator in the night. You know, it causes disturbance, and your security is also at risk.
Yes. Okay. Yes. All right, listener, that's the much we have on today's edition of the program. But before we call it today, in 30 seconds rather to a minute, what advice do you have for the listener out there listening in on the program today, based on our discussions?
Well, my listeners, the basic advice I have there is that people should desist from just going into mining like that because it is lucrative. You must do the correct things by forming yourself. If you don't have the money, form yourself into cooperative, register yourself with Ministry of Commerce and industry, you will be given a certificate where you proceed, register yourself as ASM, artisanal and small scale mining. Then that will be. But the most pertinent one is those people that are mining. Somebody will buy his land and begin to mine in the name of it's his land. The mineral is not your own. The land is your own, but the mineral is not your own. So people should desist from that, and especially turning water wells to mining wells. This is very common, and that's the hurdle we are getting as a ministry and as a state, even the federal government. Illegal mining activity is proliferating in Plateau State, and basically towards trying to get whatever they have. So I'm calling on people to desist from using well. The law will catch up with anybody that is caught.
All right, thank you very much. All right, listener, that was my guest, Mr. Jaryum Samuel Wandara, Director, Exploration and Gemological Services, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Mineral Development, Plateau State. Sir, thank you for coming on the program
Thank
today.
you very much.
I also want to thank the callers that called in today. Abari from Jos, Abdullahi, Lajibola and Yakubu. Thank you for calling in, and your contributions are duly noted, and you will receive response for your contributions. All right, in conclusion, Nigeria's energy transition plan presents a massive opportunities for ASMs and for the sector to become more sustainable and to contribute to the country's economic growth and environmental goals. While there are clear challenges such as cost awareness and access to financing, there are also tremendous opportunities to build a more resilient, sustainable and inclusive mining sector. The government, policymakers, NGOs and mining communities all have a role to play in this transition. So thank you very much. Thank you to my guests for sharing your valuable insights into Nigeria's energy transition and the role of ASMs and the role they can play. And to our listeners, we hope this discussion has inspired you to think about the intersection of energy, climate change and the economic development. There is a meeting point. Let's all work together towards attaining a sustainable energy future for Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to my producers, Mary and Co, and to the crew. Thank you very, very much. And we look forward to continuing the discussion and conversation same time next week. So stay tuned and stay safe, and let's keep pushing for positive change. My name is Stephen Ego. Good afternoon.